From the world of AV programming and control with James King, I'm Steve Greenblatt, and this is Ask the Programmer. James, how are you today? We're on a great streak of fine guests, and today's not an exception.
Oh, I'm doing good, Steve. Yep, I'm looking forward to having this conversation. If it's anything like the last one, it will be a very good one.
Fantastic. And if you didn't catch our previous episode, please do. As you could normally count on at Ask the Programmer, we will record two episodes with a guest. So the past episode is the background and will be the lead up to today's episode. So please check that out. And I'll introduce our guest today. He's Eugene Dunn. He is an ecosystem project support engineer at Q-SYS. Welcome back, Eugene.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks for being here. And we had a great conversation, and we talked a lot about uh, a creator mentality and a problem solver mentality, and how to actually learn programming and how you went about it. And you have a very unique role at Q-SYS that I would like you to explain to the audience, because what you do right now is you do a lot of work to make not only the platform work, but also you are an advocate for the programmers, the Q-SYS programmers. So talk a lot about that.
Part of my role is to review any and all assets going through what was Asset Manager into library. I have done a couple things on automation, on making sure that, hey, we can actually do reviews. We took that and we have accelerated greatly everything going into Asset Manager and then library. Um, Part of that is enforcing a set of standards that thinks upon first, is this code usable from a technical standpoint? Does it work? Will it work? Can you actually install it? Is it actually reporting up to Reflect? Is this a signed piece of software? But also looking at it from a programmer's perspective, is a novice programmer going to easily be able to use this? Are there control pins? I'm going to talk from a Q-SYS perspective here. These are Q-SYS plugins. So just like our UCI fundamentals class is broken up into basic, uh, novice, and advanced, into three tiers. Are you using control pins? Are you using control blocks, block controllers? Are you using text controllers and plugins? All these are three types of users that have to consume assets from library. Is it usable for them? Can they do the automations? On top of that, it's giving my experience as a programmer feedback to that of using them. So if there's a plugin coming through, it's like, hey, I think there should be a power toggle here where you only had it on off. Because as a user, I might want to put that power toggle on a UCI. Hey, you don't have discrete on off. You should put that on there. Users want that. Or selecting inputs different ways. Just because it works doesn't mean it's the best thing for our users. So advocating for every type of programmer that I could think of, which is why I love being in the community. The more I could talk with community members and get your perspectives, the more I could feed that back through our process into our team, not only when we're putting out plugins, but because I'm part of our control team, also to when we're putting out control features. So
And a lot of what you're doing from an outsider's perspective, they may not appreciate it as much as a programmer would appreciate what you're doing. So you have the right audience here, and you're and this is really what we've been trying um, to encourage and advocate for some time. Is we need to provide we need to demonstrate the value of programmers, but also show that they deserve to have the support that you're providing. James, Eugene talked a little bit about standards, and that's we always have that joke about standards, but he's really done a great job of providing specific requirements for the way code should be done when it comes to integrating devices. And what one of the things that I know that people will say about when you have an API integration with, because it's near and dear to me, is that you want to be able to know you can trust it. Having this, the things that Eugene does really help to contribute to that. Um, do you think that our industry can do more to provide standards for programming?
Oh, yeah. I mean, our industry can always do more. The once people start thinking, hey, we reached the pinnacle, that's when you get left behind. Like we can always be improving, always do more. But I do feel that, folks like Eugene and others out there are starting to help us move that forward. And it's no longer programmers sitting and go, we need this doesn't work for me. Oh man, I see. I know you love APIs. For the longest time, I didn't like APIs because I wanted that control. And I know that was my personal trait. I wanted controls. Now, yeah, I'm a little more into APIs and stuff. But I think that also goes back to that, trust. Is it trustable? Like if I'm using this, will it work? And can I use it properly? I always like Eugene kind of talked about, cool, your code might work, but can it be used? I always like to tell people just because it works or just because we did something one way doesn't mean it's the best way or the only way of doing things. We grow, we learn, we build. So yeah, having it, making sure that not only does it work functionality wise, but can you actually use it? And I can tell you when coders don't look at that, and I'm not talking about AV programmers in general, I'm talking about coders in general. When they don't look at that aspect of it, it really frustrates users. And I've been frustrated on many systems because of that. Biggest one I've seen was, everyone knows I coach soccer, I've been involved with soccer, and the US went to a one ID system for all players. Really cool. No matter where you go play in the US as a child, once you have that ID number, your ID number goes with you. They can easily pull up your history. But all the systems require you to enter the ID in the multiple places. And if you miss one spot, it doesn't transfer over. And it's like that drives me nuts as a programmer and as a user of this system.
Yeah. It probably people are probably not talking to each other when they're doing stuff and looking at these things holistically. Um, I wanted to touch on something that you said because I really want I hope that Eugene can dig into this a bit. Is API integrations can be something that is there's a lot of options out there, we'll call it. But what Q-SYS is trying to do is say these are the official, and they call them plugins that we stand behind and that are supported. But it takes a lot to get there. So Eugene, share a little bit about that because that's where we interact a lot, and I know that you have a lot of different things that you work on, but I think that this part is really important.
QSC, we call them right now verified assets. It's a little badge that also manufacturers could put on their websites. You'll see verified under that integration. And what that means to a user is this has gone through a scoping to know, hey, this is going to fit within the ecosystem. This is something you can use. It has been developed by a vetted developer who programs within our standards so it can be easily supported, that you know who has done this, that it's supported by a team of programmers, and also we at QSC can also support it so you get fast support. Um, and also that it has the backing of that manufacturer as well. It goes through that whole review. Um, Too many times, and I'm guilty of this as well, I'll put a plugin out on the Code Exchange, which is our way of community members putting out plugins. without being verified, but still semi-easily shared, usually through GitHub. And I don't have anyone to review my code. A lot of times when I'm reviewing code that comes through verification, we get to be a little collaborative on, hey, you wrote this function this way. It might be a little more rugged to write it this way, or hey, you could have done this a little easier here. And we both get to grow. I get to see a lot of code and like, hey, I never thought of coding that way. Or I didn't know Q-SYS could even do that. I just had that experience this week. And the other program on the other side gets to grow as a developer as well as I give feedback to them. So now we're growing, we're making better solutions, and then we're also at QSE doing our best to make it easy for both programmers, but also now with the launch of library, sales engineers, design engineers being able to see what's available, vetted, and ready to go today.
I love the process, and I know, and it's very rigorous too in terms of testing and so forth. Can you share a little bit about that?
We have some automated tests that we're constantly evolving. Our process has started with some we do in GitHub because it's a great place that we internally like to use. And it hasn't stopped evolving through my entire tenure. At first, it was we pass things over email. Now we have automated processes to make it easier for coders to get their code to me. If you make something easy, people will do it. Programmers like writing code. They don't like emailing. So if they can submit their code simply and effectively without mistakes and zipping up and dealing with emails policies, now we're going faster. Then we automated notifications. So if something comes through a review, I get a quick little notification and I can access that code and review it very quickly. We've had some bug fixes that came in, reviewed, and were staged for release in less than an hour. That's not feasible over email. Then we also have some automated tests that we wrote to review your code to our standards as objectively as we can and give that feedback automatically to the programmer as fast as possible. And now we're also enabling some developers to optionally let AI review their code, but not force them to make changes. One thing that I personally see is AI Copilot is great at reviewing code, but when you think in the scope of a Q-SYS plugin, it's usually 50% accurate. So 50% of the review notes I get out of an AI review are usually pretty accurate and actionable. The other 50% might be nuanced actions of Q-SYS or of this plugin that may not be accurate. But it's still a tool that I've personally had errors of reading code. Our human eyes will read a word and think it's correct, even though it might be misspelled by one letter or the second letter in the word might be capitalized when it should be lowercase for a variable to match up. That's one place where we found the AI review to be very helpful in finding bugs before they go out to production. That although we do some SQA testing and our developing partners also do a lot of SQA testing, little things, little edge cases can leak through. So we're constantly improving that process to get the best product out to programmers so you could trust what you're using while also listening to the programmer's feedback of, hey, this is great, or hey, I wish this feature was in there, or I liked this about this plugin. Hey, we could translate that onto the next scope.
It's so refreshing, I think, to know that that programmers that are going to be using these things can really trust them and know that what's gone into them and know that they are that they're meeting certain requirements and they're going to also be backed, which I think is really important. Um, James, Eugene talked about using AI for, code testing and review. What are your thoughts about that? Because that's not something that's come up on our podcast that much.
No, it has not come up on our podcast much, but AI is really evolving. Kind of sum it up, the AI you use today is going to be the worst AI you ever use. And then same thing tomorrow. It's just gonna get better and better. Um, I think how he mentioned it that, yeah, it'll capture those nuances that, us human eyes can easily miss, is great. But knowing that it's a tool, it's gonna make mistakes. Um, and I use AI now. I've been growing with it. I've not used it for code review. I have used it to try to write some code, but the AI I'm using doesn't do a good job of it, so I don't ever use any of it. I want to get my hands on a better one like Claude or a different one, but the platform I had just not good. Um, so knowing you have to know that information. You have to know what it's giving you is junk, is half junk, or hey, this is fully baked. And if you don't know that and you just blindly accept it, that's when we're going to run into a lot of problems with code reviews or code building with AI, any way you look at it. So just using AI as a tool, knowing, hey, it's a tool. You gotta use it correctly. Just like if I take a hammer and try to use it as a screwdriver, it ain't gonna be efficient, it ain't gonna work. It's not the fault of the tool, it's the fault of the person using the tool.
Hmm.
My stance on AI has always been trust but verify. It's one of those where I like using it as a tool, like you're saying. It is a tool. I don't use it a lot for coding. When anytime I'm using it for coding, it's pretty much a glorified autocomplete where I know what I'm programming and it's just following and refilling out my table or putting the ends for me or making sure that I'm closing my ifs. Um, Anytime I'm using AI and it gives me a novel piece of code, the biggest thing I tell others is learn what it's giving you. Trust it like you would a code snippet from Stack Exchange, the OG. Going onto a forum, you find a snippet of code, treat AI like that's the snippet of code, learn what's going on. Then you can trust what it's giving you.
Yep.
Always good tips, and I, uh, I've seen a lot more use of AI in different parts of our world, and but you have to know what you do. You have to know what you're doing to be able to use it. Is really what I think we're all kind of saying. It's not going to do the work for you. You just have to know how to use it to enhance what you know.
I think I know it, I don't even know how many episodes it was ago, but I know Rich was on Uncle Richie, and he summed it up pretty well. And he said, treat AI like an intern,
Hmm.
you know, go out and do this, and then you review like you would any intern. The only benefit you get with AI treating it like an intern is, as we mentioned in the last episode, people tech is easy, people are hard. AI is not people. You can tell it 1,000 times and you're wrong, go fix it, and it's gonna keep working. If you tell an intern 100 times, hey, no, you're wrong, go fix it, they're gonna start crying. They're gonna get, you got feelings and emotions involved. That's I would say the benefit of the AI. Treat it like an intern, knowing that hey, it's learning just like an intern. It's gonna make a lot of mistakes, just like an intern, and you have to verify everything he's doing.
Very, very much so. Very much so. I think that those who are not testing the waters with it, though, I think are probably going to find that they're missing out. So, but I agree with everything there. As we wrap up, Eugene, why don't you give us a little bit of your insight? You know, you get a lot of exposure to different programmers, and where do you think see things going in the industry from a programmer's perspective?
From a programmer's perspective, The idea of more openness is something that I really like and trying to advocate for. Um, don't pigeonhole yourself into one corner, one platform, one coding base, one solution. Be open to different solutions and mixing and matching to solve the problem the best way you can. You don't always need a hammer. Sometimes you have your lineman's pliers and you got to push a knockout on an electrical box. Does it get the job done? Yes, you achieved it. You don't always have to go back to the van to grab that hammer. Be open to that and also be open to the new stuff that's coming out. If you're not and you're staying closed, you're unfortunately, like any other industry we're seeing, you get left behind.
So I take it, and that's those are excellent tips. Thank you. That you do believe that programmers are going to be finding a future despite the simplification of
Oh,
programming.
yes. There's, like we got to talk about in the last episode, there's a human element to all this. And we as humans prefer human interaction over machine interaction. So programmers are never going away. You might change what you're doing. Maybe you're writing a little less code. Maybe you're doing a little less DSP programming and it's a little more automated for you. But there will still be problems that need to be solved, and the human is still going to be in that loop.
Excellent tip, and think that's a great place for us to wrap this. I love what you said, and I hope everybody really takes note to that because that's think of yourself as a problem solver, and you'll always be needed. So, um, Eugene Dunn, thank you again for being with us. Two fantastic episodes and great insight. How can people get in touch with you, learn more about Q-SYS and Q-SYS communities?
You could find me on LinkedIn, Eugene Dunn, there, or you could find me on Q-SYS communities, rapidly commenting on your posts, or you'll see me making posts in the Q-SYS library group there.
Fantastic. Thanks again for being with us. James, any final thoughts and also share how people can reach you and continue the conversation?
I, I'm not going to provide any final thoughts because I think what Eugene just said is what our audience should be listening and taking. If you want to get a hold of me, Google me, you'll find me. I'm out there.
Fantastic. And for me, you can reach me at Steve Greenblatt on social platforms. LinkedIn is the most active place. And my company, Control Concepts, is a supporter of this podcast. And what we do is develop the building blocks that programmers use to make their systems work, whether you're integrating devices, products, or adding functionality to your systems. You could find out more about that at controlconcepts.net. Our podcast, if you are watching, is on YouTube, as you would know, but you could also listen on the go on your favorite podcast player. If you prefer to listen but want to see our show, you can also watch us on YouTube. Both are great places to leave a rating, review, comment, and we would really be honored if you would share your favorite episode. Please join us in the LinkedIn group for Ask the Programmer, and that's a place where you can meet many of our guests and also interact with other people that are in similar place and have similar interests. So please join us there. We very much appreciate you listening and watching. And until next time, this has been Ask the Programmer.